Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. You can be walking through your day, confident, strong, smiling at the world, and then suddenly something hits you deep inside, not on the surface, not on your skin, but right in your heart. Emotional pain doesn't show up in bandages. It doesn't leave visible scars. It sits in silence. It weighs on your chest. It follows you into the night when the world is asleep. And the hardest thing about it is that nobody else can measure it. Nobody else can hold it for you. Nobody else can feel it the way you do. Now let me tell you something. Every single person in this room, at some point, has faced emotional pain. Maybe it was loss, maybe betrayal, maybe rejection, maybe failure, maybe watching someone you love walk away. You felt like the ground opened beneath your feet and you didn't know how to stand. But the truth is, pain is not here to destroy you. Pain is a teacher, pain is a mirror, pain is proof that you are alive, proof that your heart still beats, proof that your soul still cares. The question is not whether you will feel emotional pain. The question is what you will do when it comes. Will you let it break you down, or will you let it build you up? Because handling emotional pain is not about pretending it doesn't hurt. It's about facing it with courage. It's about standing in the middle of the storm and refusing to surrender. It's about saying, yes, I am hurting, yes, I am wounded, but I am not finished. See, emotional pain has a strange power. It can silence your voice, or it can sharpen your vision. It can make you bitter, or it can make you better. And that choice, that decision, belongs to you. You can drown in the weight of it, or you can rise from it with strength you didn't even know you had. The pain you feel today can become the wisdom you share tomorrow. The tears you cry in private can become the seeds of the strength you walk with in public. Think about the people who inspire you most. They didn't inspire you because life was easy for them. They inspired you because they went through fire and didn't quit. They inspired you because they carried emotional pain and turned it into power. That same strength is inside you right now. That same resilience is sitting in your spirit, waiting for you to call on it. You don't need to run from the pain. You don't need to numb it. You don't need to hide it. You need to face it, feel it, and then rise above it. Acknowledge the pain. Don't deny it. The first step in handling emotional pain is not to run from it, not to bury it, not to act like it doesn't exist, but to look it in the eye and admit it's there. Too many people spend their lives trying to cover their wounds with smiles, trying to silence their cries with distractions, trying to put on a brave face while their soul is bleeding inside. But denial doesn't heal you, it only delays you. When you deny your pain, you give it more power, because what you refuse to face will always find a way to control you. When you acknowledge your pain, you're not showing weakness, you're showing strength. It takes courage to say I am hurting, I am struggling, I am wounded. That is not defeat, that is honesty. And honesty is where healing begins. Pretending you're fine doesn't make you fine, it only makes you exhausted. But when you can look in the mirror and admit the truth, when you can drop the mask and be real with yourself, that's when the process of rebuilding starts. Acknowledge the pain, because your heart needs permission to grieve. Your mind needs permission to process. Your spirit needs permission to release. If you hold it in, it festers, it grows heavy, it eats away at your energy, your joy, your peace. But when you say yes, I feel this, yes, this hurts me, yes, I can't ignore it, you give yourself the space to heal. Emotional pain is not something to be ashamed of. It is a sign that you are alive, that you care, that you love deeply enough to feel deeply. Some people will tell you to be tough, to move on, to get over it quickly. But strength is not ignoring what you feel. Strength is facing it. Strength is sitting with the discomfort, with the tears, with the silence, and refusing to let it turn you into something cold. Because pain will try to harden you. Pain will try to close your heart. Pain will whisper that you are safer if you stop caring. But acknowledging pain means you choose not to let it rob you of your humanity. It means you still believe in your own ability to rise even when you're down. Look at the strongest people you know. They are not strong because they never faced pain. They are strong because they admitted it, because they dealt with it, because they allowed it to shape them without destroying them. Pain is universal, but the courage to acknowledge it is rare. Too many people cover their scars. Too many people build walls instead of bridges. Too many people pretend they're invincible while breaking inside. Don't let that be you. Stand in your truth, because acknowledging pain does not mean you are broken beyond repair. It means you are brave enough to begin repair. Think of it like carrying a heavy load. If you pretend the load isn't there, you keep walking with it, and it only grows heavier until it breaks you down. But if you stop, acknowledge that you're carrying something heavy, and adjust your grip, you can actually manage it. You can actually move forward. Emotional pain works the same way. When you deny it, it crushes you, but when you admit it, you create the possibility of shifting it, lifting it, learning from it. Acknowledgement opens the door to growth. It's the foundation for every step that comes after. You cannot transform what you won't face. You cannot heal what you won't admit. You cannot rise from something you pretend does not exist. Acknowledging pain is the act of reclaiming your power. It's telling yourself, I see it, I feel it, and I will not run from it. That is the first act of courage, and every act of courage after begins there turn pain into purpose, not bitterness. Life will hand you wounds that cut deep, experiences that shake your foundation, and moments that leave you questioning why it had to happen to you. It is easy in those moments to let pain harden you, to let anger settle into your bones, to let bitterness become your language. But bitterness is a trap. It keeps you chained to the hurt. It poisons your spirit. It steals your peace. It robs you of joy. You think you're protecting yourself by staying angry, but really you're keeping yourself a prisoner of the very thing that hurt you. Turning pain into purpose is not about denying the reality of what happened. It's about refusing to let what hurt you define you. Every setback, every heartbreak, every betrayal carries within it a seed, and that seed can either grow weeds of bitterness or roots of strength. The choice is yours. If you water anger, resentment, and revenge, bitterness will grow and choke the life out of you. But if you water understanding, compassion, and resilience, then purpose begins to grow. Pain is the raw material. Purpose is what you choose to build with it. When you choose purpose, you take control back from the pain. You decide that what was meant to break, you will instead build you. You take the hurt that was supposed to silence you and turn it into a voice that inspires others. You take the tears that were supposed to drown you and turn them into rivers of strength. Purpose doesn't erase pain, it transforms it. It takes the same fire that tried to consume you and uses it to light your path. Think about the stories that move us most. They are not the stories of people who never suffered. They are the stories of people who went through suffering and came out with a mission. They turned their wounds into wisdom. They turned their pain into a platform. They took their scars and made them a message. That is what turning pain into purpose looks like. You stop asking, why me? And you start asking, what now? You stop dwelling on the hurt, and you start building something greater from it. Bitterness keeps you stuck in the past, replaying the moment again and again. Purpose moves you forward, giving meaning to what you endured. Bitterness makes you small, closing your heart to the possibilities around you. Purpose makes you expansive, opening your life to growth you didn't think was possible. Bitterness is a chain, purpose is a key, and that key is already in your hands, waiting for you to use it. Turning pain into purpose also means serving beyond yourself. When you find a way to use what you went through to lift others, to encourage them, to guide them, you are no longer just surviving, you are leading. You are showing that pain can be fuel for change. Maybe your purpose is to create, maybe it's to teach, maybe it's to comfort, maybe it's to innovate, maybe it's to inspire. Whatever it is, it comes alive when you stop feeding bitterness and start directing your energy into something greater. The truth is, bitterness and purpose cannot coexist. You cannot hold on to resentment and expect to rise higher. You cannot keep replaying the injustice and expect to find peace. You cannot grip anger tightly and expect your hands to be free to build something meaningful. At some point, you have to choose, and when you choose purpose, you discover strength in places you never thought possible. You discover that the wound didn't end you, it began something in you. You discover that the pain didn't define you, it refined you. You discover that bitterness was only ever an illusion of control, but purpose is real freedom. Learn the lesson hidden inside the struggle. Every struggle carries within it a message, a truth, a piece of wisdom meant for you to uncover. Most people never find it because they are too busy resenting the pain, too focused on wishing it away, too distracted by the weight of what went wrong. But if you lean in, if you listen closely, if you pay attention to the patterns and the emotions and the way the experience is shaping you, you will discover that pain is never wasted. It always teaches, even if the lesson is not clear at first. Think back on the hardest times of your life. You may not have realized it while you were in the middle of it, but later, when you looked back, you saw how it changed you. You saw how it made you wiser, stronger, more discerning. You saw how it forced you to slow down, to rethink, to reevaluate what mattered most. That is the hidden curriculum of struggle. It teaches what comfort never could. Comfort lulls you to sleep, but struggle wakes you up. Comfort makes you passive, but struggle sharpens your senses. Comfort lets you drift, but struggle demands your focus. The lesson inside struggle is not always about the world. Sometimes it is about you. Struggle shows you what you are made of, what you can endure, what limits you can stretch, what fears you can overcome. You think you know yourself in easy times, but you truly discover yourself when things fall apart. The version of you that shows up in hardship is the version that tells the truth about your character. That's why the lesson is so powerful, because it reveals you to yourself. Every struggle also has the potential to shift your perspective. Sometimes pain teaches patience, sometimes it teaches empathy, sometimes it teaches discipline, sometimes it teaches humility. It is not always obvious, but if you are willing to reflect instead of just react, you will see what it was sent to show you. Maybe the struggle is teaching you to value what you once took for granted. Maybe it is teaching you to let go of what you were holding on to too tightly. Maybe it is teaching you to build boundaries, or to trust yourself, or to stop depending on people who never had your best interest at heart. The lesson is there, waiting for you to claim it. The problem is, most people resist the lesson. They ask why me instead of what for. They get so caught in anger and disappointment that they never extract the wisdom. And when you miss the lesson, you often repeat the pain. Life will keep sending the same struggle in different forms until you finally learn what it was trying to teach you. That is why acknowledging the lesson is not just about healing the past, it is about protecting your future. The lesson is not always comfortable, but it is always valuable. You may not like the way it came, you may not like the way it broke you down, but the wisdom it leaves behind is worth more than the wound itself. That wisdom becomes your compass. It becomes the quiet voice inside that warns you, that guides you, that encourages you when the next challenge arrives. Without the lesson, the pain is just pain. With the lesson, the pain becomes progress. Learn to ask yourself in every struggle, what is this teaching me? What is this moment trying to reveal? What part of me needs to grow? What habit needs to change? What truth needs to be faced? If you can ask those questions and answer them honestly, you will walk out of the struggle not empty-handed, but carrying the treasure it left behind. Because the real gift of pain is not survival, it is wisdom. And wisdom is what allows you to step forward stronger than you were before. Use pain as fuel to grow stronger. Pain has a way of breaking you down, but it also has a way of building you up if you let it. The same fire that can burn you can also refine you. The same weight that can crush you can also shape your muscles. The same storm that can knock you off balance can also teach you how to stand firmer. It all depends on how you choose to see it, how you choose to use it, how you decide to carry it. Pain is energy, and energy can destroy or it can create. The choice is in your hands. When you go through emotional pain, you are standing in front of a door. One side of that door leads to despair, defeat, and bitterness, but the other side leads to strength, endurance, and power. To use pain as fuel means you take everything that was meant to weaken you and turn it into a reason to rise higher. You take the rejection and use it to sharpen your determination. You take the heartbreak and use it to deepen your understanding of love. You take the failure and use it to refine your vision. Every painful experience carries fuel, but only if you choose to ignite it. Think about how the strongest steel is forged. It doesn't become strong by avoiding heat. It becomes strong by enduring it. The pressure, the fire, the hammering, that's what makes it unbreakable. In the same way, your strength is forged in the fires of your struggle. The pain is not pleasant, but it is purposeful. It stretches you, it strengthens you, it grows you into a version of yourself that comfort could never produce. You do not get stronger by hiding from pain. You get stronger by walking through it and deciding to let it shape you instead of destroy you. Using pain as fuel means you stop seeing it as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. Preparation for the challenges ahead, preparation for the responsibilities you're meant to carry, preparation for the destiny that requires a stronger version of you. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt can become fuel. You can take that raw emotion and pour it into your goals, pour it into your craft, pour it into becoming someone wiser and tougher. Pain will not leave you empty if you learn how to channel it. It's like running with weights tied to your legs. At first it feels unbearable, it slows you down, it makes you question why you're carrying so much. But when you train under that weight and the day comes when the weights are removed, you run faster, lighter, stronger than ever before. Pain works the same way. It feels heavy now, but if you allow it to build your resilience, the day will come when you realize it made you stronger than you thought possible. The people who achieve greatness are not the ones who never felt pain. They are the ones who decided to use it. They didn't let it sit idle inside them. They didn't let it poison their spirit. They turned it into motion, into energy, into fuel. They took the doubt others threw at them and turned it into confidence. They took the doors that closed on them and used them as motivation to build new ones. They took every disappointment and used it as a reminder to push harder, to rise higher, to keep going no matter how dark it felt. Pain is not the end of your story, it is the ignition. It is the spark that lights something in you, something you didn't know you had. When you use it as fuel, you stop being a victim of what hurt you and start being a creator of what you will become. You stop carrying it like a burden and start carrying it like a torch. That torch lights your path. It reminds you of where you came from. It pushes you to keep moving forward when everything in you wants to quit. Pain can break you, but it can also make you unbreakable if you choose to turn it into fuel. Remember, emotional pain is temporary, but resilience is permanent. In the moment when you are hurting, when the weight on your chest feels unbearable, when the nights feel endless and the tears won't stop, it feels like it will last forever. Pain convinces you that tomorrow won't be any different, that the sun will never rise again, that the storm will never pass. But pain lies. Pain is a visitor, not a resident. It comes to your life, it shakes you, it tests you, but it does not stay forever. Resilience is what remains long after the pain has left. Resilience is what you carry with you. Resilience is the permanent mark carved into your character. Emotional pain is intense because it attacks the heart. It hits the places no one can see. It makes you feel invisible in your struggle. But the truth is, time shifts, healing happens, perspective grows, and wounds begin to close. What you thought would never end slowly fades, and what you thought would break you becomes something you look back on and say, I made it through. That is the power of resilience. Pain passes, but the strength you gain from enduring it becomes a part of you forever. Every scar has a story. Every scar is proof that pain was temporary, but survival was permanent. The scar doesn't hurt the way the wound did, but it reminds you that you overcame, and that reminder fuels you in the next battle, because you carry living evidence on your skin, in your soul, that you can endure. Pain cannot erase that evidence. Resilience writes it deeper every time you survive what was meant to break you. Resilience doesn't mean you don't feel the pain. It means you feel it fully, but you refuse to let it own you. It means you bend, but you don't snap. You stumble, but you don't stay down. You cry, but you still rise. And once you've built resilience, it stays with you. It becomes part of your foundation. No matter what storms come next, you know you've stood in storms before. No matter what losses you face, you know you've carried loss before. No matter how sharp the ache feels, you know pain is temporary because you've lived through it already. That's why resilience is permanent. It's like a muscle. The more you go through, the stronger it gets. Pain forces you to train it, and once it's built, it doesn't leave you. Pain may visit again, but now you meet it with more strength, more wisdom, more balance than before. Pain comes in waves, but resilience is the shoreline that never disappears. Waves crash, they roar, they hit with force, but the shore remains standing. That is you when you've built resilience. You may get shaken, you may feel the impact, but you remain, you endure. You lost. The mistake many people make is thinking the pain is forever and the strength is temporary, but it's the opposite. Pain fades, resilience grows. Pain tries to convince you that this moment is final, but resilience whispers that this moment is only part of your journey. Pain makes you doubt your strength, resilience proves your strength is real. Pain comes and goes, resilience stays and grows. That is the truth you must hold on to when everything feels unbearable. Every time you survive, every time you endure, every time you walk through what you thought you couldn't, resilience gets etched deeper into your spirit. It becomes the unshakable part of you, the permanent armor you wear into life's battles. Pain can knock on your door again, but now it's knocking on a fortified house. You've reinforced yourself with resilience, and that does not disappear when the pain passes. That strength, that endurance, that faith, those remain with you forever. Resilience is your permanent victory over temporary suffering. It is the reminder that even though pain is real, it is not eternal. You are the one who lasts, you are the one who stands, you are the one who carries the lessons and the strength when the hurt has already faded. Pain may write on your life in sharp ink, but resilience carves itself in stone. Pain fades into memory, but resilience lives in your bones, in your breath, in your very being. For